all sources that could harm us and our communities across the Asia-Pacific region countries in general. With your mercy and protection, O Allah, our Lord, please save and bless all animals and wildlife across the Asia-Pacific region countries, especially animals, pets, and wildlife in Sarawak of Malaysia, with healthy life, peace, and harmonious forever. Allahumma bika nasta'in wa alayka natawakkal wa anta rabbul arshil azim. ارحمنا يا ربنا فإنك أنت أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Ustaz Yaakob, for leading us in the Dua recital. The Right Honorable Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Dato' Abang Haji Openg, Premier of Sarawak. The Honorable Dato' Sri Professor Dr. Sim Kui Hian, Deputy Premier of Sarawak and Minister for Public Health, Housing and Local Government. The Honorable Dato' Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Anak Utom, Minister of Food Industry, Commodity and Regional Development. Yang berbahagia, Dato' Hee Chang Ki, Deputy State Secretary from the State Secretary Office. Yang berbahagia, Datin Donna Duriwi, President for SSPCA. Distinguished guest, Mr. Dave Neal, Chairman for Asia for Animals Coalition 2023. Madam Gracie Jiki, Chairman of the SSPCA and the Organizing Chair for Asia for Animals Conference 2023, Head of Departments, Sponsors and Strategic Partners, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Salam Sarawak Maju Makmur, Selamat Datang and welcome to the Asia for Animals Conference 2023. It is indeed a great moment and achievement for Sarawak to be able to hold such a remarkable event attended by experts from various parts of the world to share their experiences in animal-related issues. And now to formally welcome each and every one of you to this event, we would like to invite the President of SSPCA, Datin Donna, to deliver her welcoming address. Datin, if you may.
Well, a very good morning to everybody here. We're so honored to have the Right Honorable Premier of Sarawak, Yang Amat Berhormat Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari, our Deputy Premier, YB Professor Dato' Sri Dr. Sim Kui Hian, also Minister of Public Health and Local Government, YB Dato' Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi, Minister of Food Industry, Commodity and Regional Development, Dave Neal, and the members of the Board of Asia for Animals Coalition, representatives from the Office of the Sarawak State Secretary, Dato' Hee Chang Ki, and also from the various ministries. We have Natural Resources and Urban Development. We also have Dr. Adrian Susin Ambut, Director of Department of Veterinary Services, Sarawak, who will be having his very own conference at the end of this month, the Rabies in Borneo 2, at which I'll be speaking on collaborations. Also representatives from Ministry of Tourism and Business Events Sarawak. Here this morning we also have Dato' Dr. Seong, who is a retired Director of Vet Department and also our immediate past President for SSPCA. Members of the Animal Village Design Team, who are all working pro bono, AJ Architects, PUBM Quantity Surveyors, Pruning Technical, thank you for your assistance. Friends of the media, these are all our partners, entities that we must engage in to bring about the kind of change we hope to see. The fact that we are all gathered here today is a testament to our collaborative commitment to improving the lives of animals here and around the globe. So much has happened since you were last here for our conference in 2015. In 2016, oops, here we go. Where am I pointing this at? It's not working. Is that you guys? Okay, technology. So much has happened since you all were last here in our conference in 2015. In 2016, as a follow-up to the 2015 AFA conference, SSPCA organized the Animal Population Management Symposium, and we also had a session on rabies preparedness in Sarawak. So this was a session, we had Mission Rabies here, and we couldn't catch a dog, so Praveen Ohal had to be our dog, and so we taught the councils how to use the nets. Can I have one that moves that works, please? Because some of my slides I want to move very fast. And we had, coming to join us that time was Dr. Ganga, who is here again, Kate Polak, who is here with us as well, Harry Ekman, and of course, Praveen from Mission Rabies. 1 year later, in 2017, our predictions came true, and rabies crossed the border from Kalimantan into Sarawak. This marked the beginning of our greatest efforts in collaboration and engagement. It also marked the steepest learning curve I ever had to go through. SSPCA was thrown in the deep end. No animals in Sarawak had protection against this disease. Our first call was to the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Amar Douglas Uga, to tell him we needed to immediately start mass vaccination programs and that culling would not eradicate the disease. We read up on the canine rabies blueprint, integrated bite case management in Bali, just to name a few. 9 days after the first reported case, we were in a conference call with people like Dr. Katinka from FAO and the FAO Crisis Management Center for Animal Health, WHO and AGAH from Rome, discussing emergency responses and surveillance. We were very fortunate then that Dr. Andrea Britton from Vets Beyond Borders was in the region, and we were able to fly her in from Indonesia. And she stayed with us for 2 weeks, giving valuable advice and directions, not just to SSPCA, but to the vet department as well. Dr. Andrea will be back at the end of this month, as she's the head of the Scientific Committee for the Rabies in Borneo 2023. She's also on this AFA's Scientific Committee, but was not able to make it here in time for this conference. Going down to ground zero in Siaran allowed us to see how this dreadful disease had come across the border from Indonesia and how it affected the families, especially those who had lost their children. The stress that came with trying to strike a realistic balance between controlling the disease and saving the healthy strays that roam freely on our streets, the community dogs that know their neighbors. The long sleepless nights, fear, tears of frustration. Many a time I just wanted to throw in the towel as the tug of war between both sides took its toll on my passion to help. I felt as if a great weight was on my shoulders just to drag everyone through this crisis, to find that balance where we could all work together to reach a compromise that everyone would be satisfied with. The challenge is to keep that balance going for the next few years as we all work together to make Sarawak rabies-free again. I would like to acknowledge the work that the Department of Veterinary Services does, especially those first few weeks of 2017. I don't think Dr. Nick or any of them took a weekend off at that time. They worked tirelessly to vaccinate the animals in the multitude of villages that surround Syrian town. And I don't think the public in Kuching here realized how difficult and how hot and tiring it was in those kampongs, because all was done in the outskirts, some only reachable by rivers and long boat rides. So here we were speaking to the villagers in Syrian, trying to find out where the disease came from, and they told us that a pack of dogs had walked through the border and attacked their animals. We worked together with the Ministry of Public Housing and Local Government, the Health Department and Department of Veterinary Services to do the pilot house-to-house vaccination program in Batukawa. And here we have our Professor Sim sitting on the curb with us as we mark in all our data. It took us 3 months, going out 5 days a week to complete the whole area. And we collected data of how many dogs we saw, how many we managed to vaccinate. DVSS Malaysia sent in their vets from other states to learn and to assist as well. These are the children that are waiting for us to come. At first, when we arrived, we asked them if they had any dogs, and they said, no, we don't have any. Then we said, we're here to give you vaccinations against rabies. No, we don't have any. It's free. Oh, okay. So they started bringing out their dogs. I couldn't get the government maps. So this is them bringing out their dogs. I couldn't get government maps of the area. So every night I had to take snapshots of Google Maps, print, and cut and paste 3 copies each. 1 for our volunteers, 1 for DVS records, and 1 for the health department's records. I remember we met one woman who said only her husband could touch their dog because he was too fierce. But when we saw the dog's behavior, we told her the dog was actually trying to socialize with her, judging from its body language. She mistook its excited barks for aggression, and we showed her how to touch her own dog. And after the dog was vaccinated, she came and gave me a hug because she said she was no longer afraid of her own dog. SSPCA assisted in the first year of mass vaccination programs, and last year in conjunction with DVSS and Sarawak Vet Association. And with the first Rabies in Borneo conference, we did on-site neutering in Syrian, and 6 private vets managed to neuter 54 animals in 1 day. And since 2017, besides preaching about responsible pet ownership, we now include dog bite prevention talks and activities when we visit schools, especially with the younger children. So here you see us in the kindergarten, and as many people have said in the last 3 days, we use soft toys to show the kids. So we tell them how to behave, not to run, not to shout. We teach them to be still, don't move, be quiet. So we take the dogs and we pretend to go around and sniff them, because we tell them if you are still, hopefully the dog will just get bored and walk away from you. We teach them the proper way to approach the dog, to ask the owner first, may I touch your dog? And generally dogs really don't like to be patted on the head. They don't like to be bumped on their head. So generally we tell them, pat them from the shoulder blades, but always ask first. This was in Syrian when we got the vets to come up and do the neutering campaign. It was requested by the people in Syrian because they don't have a vet there. So 6 teams came, and we did this in 1 day with funding also from Dato' Stephen. So we did cats and dogs, male and female. And this is some of the mass vaccination. We helped vet department organize this in the beginning because at first they were not used to handling cats and dogs. They dealt with livestock, cows and chickens. So most of our volunteers, we would go up almost every day to Syrian and help them in the vaccination programs. This is DVS coming to our shelter, so they come once a year. We're also going to be running, we actually started a program in 2019, but it got stopped, of course, by the pandemic, where the vet department and the local university came, did vaccinations, and they wanted to come back 1 month later after the 28 days to see how many dogs developed antibodies. So this is something that we will have to relook at doing again. Oops. These are scenes that we work with all the time. We experience these all the time. And as people have been talking in the last few days, I believe the councils and the local government now should be talking about doing more robust neutering campaigns. As our colleague from Humane Society International said, you have to neuter at least 50% or more of your population in order to make an impact. And Dr. Chini was just telling me outside that in India, it is now the law where the councils pick up the dogs, then they have to send them for neutering. They are held for a couple of days to make sure that they recover, and then they are returned back. And in Chennai, they have not had a human rabies death since 2017. This is a typical scene. These kittens were lucky because they were dumped with their mother. Most of the time, people will just chuck the kittens or leave them at the gate of our shelter. And this is something that we see almost every day. And this is why we believe we have to up our neutering programs. So we work with the councils, and just next week I'll be going to meetings with MBKS again to discuss our new neutering campaigns. We'll be doing some neutering in Padawan as well under YB Wilfred Yap. So these are our neutering registrations. Conference such as today's Asia for Animals 2023, and this was the first Asia for Animals that we hosted in 2015 in Borneo. It was called Partnerships Breed Success. These are the best ways of educating your local population by bringing the experts here to speak to you in Kuching. So we should take full advantage of these and engage with the delegates and speakers that are here. Other different ways of public engagement is our Wiggle Waggle Walk, which we're having tomorrow morning. It's also a way of educating public to walk their dogs on a leash, to scoop their poop, which is not a common practice here. We also did the WAG Music Festival for a couple of years. And we hope to bring back our Animazing Race, which is a race for humans. So these are all part of our outreach programs, encouraging people to come and participate with us, and also so that they learn about the work that we're doing. Okay. We've come a long way, though we've got very far to go. Fundraising at the shelter is continuous, as we have over 350 animals to feed, with full-time staff, salaries, food, medical bills. It costs us about $30,000 a month to maintain the shelter. Raising public awareness about the work that SSPCA does, however, has also caused the growth in the number of animals being dumped at our gates, as I showed you just now. People sometimes feel that they have the right to dump their animals on us because they tell us, that's your job. But it's not our job. It's your job to be a responsible pet owner. This is the main message we tell children when we give talks at school. Children will listen and go home and tell their parents. Most adults we speak to just don't hear what we're saying. The messages they take home that we all have to be responsible pet owners. Recently, our shelter has been subjected to flooding again. In the last 2 years, we've been hit 3 times. We're now in a valley with all the development coming up around us. When the shelter was first built in the 1990s, there wasn't very much around us. And now it's a bustling commercial center, as I think you can see around the sides, all the shop houses. Datuk Petinggi Abang Jo, who is here with us this morning, gave us the nod when he was Minister of Housing in 2009 to apply for a new piece of land. We requested 3 to 5 acres. 6 years later, in April of 2015, the late Tok Nan approved of 1 acre. We appealed and got 2 acres in September 2015. It took a while to get the land title sorted, and we finally managed to do our groundbreaking in 2019. But before that, I'm sorry, I forgot, I have some photos of the floods to show you. So this was one of the floods that we had. And because we had been getting flooded quite frequently, we actually had everything raised. This is a little puppy that I managed to save. We have since moved all the cats out of the shelter. They've all gone into foster homes. As you can see, we actually raised this fridge on cement blocks, and it was raised about 3.5 feet above the ground. But all it took was 6 inches of water, because the water went up to 4 feet. It took 6 inches of water to move that fridge. So it took a while to get the land title sorted, and we finally managed to do our groundbreaking in 2019. Then, of course, the pandemic hit, and getting planning approval has taken twice as long as it usually does. Sorry, this thing is not very sensitive. Okay. So this is the plan for a new area on 2 acres of land. You can see we have the dog kennels and the cat pen. We have boarding areas. We have a dog park in the middle where people can come and bond with the animals before they take them for adoption. We have a veterinary clinic, a crematorium, an education area with a small cafe, and also a reception area where we'll have a cat aviary, and as well as a dog playpen area. This was our groundbreaking in 29 with Abang Jo. Our building costs, of course, have escalated dramatically. From 2.5 million way back in 2009, 14 years ago, to 4.5 million in 2017 when we readjusted the design to something simpler, to 7 million in 2019 when we went for tender and did the groundbreaking, and now an estimated 9 million with post-COVID inflation. Needless to say, we're looking at ways to reduce the cost, but our infrastructure alone, with the Department of Drainages coming in and telling us we have to dig our drains 1 foot wider, 1 foot deeper, around a 2-acre plot, that's a lot of additional costs. So now we're going to have to build in small phases and cut our coat according to the cloth. But this is our aim, to change the perception of animals and their welfare in this new animal village. In line with Sarawak's goal of becoming a developed state by 2030, we must elevate our treatment of animals, promoting education in animal welfare, cultivating a culture of compassion, respect, and responsibility towards all living animals. When I did my TEDx talk, Kanyalang, I came up with the acronym of CARE: compassion, awareness, respect, and empathy. This is what we hope our communities will learn when they visit our animal village. Before we play the video, I must thank our AFA Borneo 2023 organizing chairman, Gracie, and the scientific committee for putting together such a great program. I would like to acknowledge the support we received from the government of Sarawak, the Premier's Office for the land for our new animal village, Ministry of Public Housing, Local Government for hosting tonight's conference dinner, Ministry of Tourism and Sarawak Business Events, our sponsors from the Coalition, SEB, Petronas, BCCK, as well as our other supporting event partners. Thank you, of course, to the Asia for Animals Coalition for having the confidence in letting SSPCA host this event for the second time. As we all know, we could not have done any of this without our volunteers. We had excellent guidance from our conference organizers, Place Borneo. We owe a debt of gratitude to our volunteers in the Secretariat, all the back-of-house services, video, photography, entertainment, sound and light, logistics, and all of you that support us, not just during this conference, but at our Christmas bazaars and throughout the years. It's you guys that inspire us to carry on. Once again, a great big thank you to all of you here, the speakers who wanted to share their experience, the delegates who came. We hope when you leave, Sarawak and Borneo will be carved in your hearts together forever. Nancy Burke said, "Some people don't understand why I help animals in need. I don't understand why they wonder." Thank you.
Thank you, Datin, for sharing your heartfelt message.
If these walls could speak,
Ladies and gentlemen, please have your attention to the screen.
they would tell 1,000 stories of unconditional love and of lives once shared, and of heartbreak and rejection. It would sing songs on the joys of giving and of our capacity for compassion. It would say it believes that all life is precious and that we are all in this together. For 30 years, these walls have given refuge to hundreds of stray, abused, and abandoned animals. With your generosity, a new, exciting chapter is about to unfold. Sarawak SPCA is now moving into the future. Thanks to the generosity of the Sarawak State Government, we are building our state-of-the-art animal village. After nearly 60 years, our animals are ready for a new home. A green lung for kuching and dog lovers. A landscaped dog park with ample room to run and play, and a warm, safe place to rest their weary heads at the end of the day. A sanctuary where hope springs eternal that one day, one person will walk through our doors and take them home. Set within lush green surroundings, the animal village will protect its residents from the elements and allow for clean, fresh air. From our present animal shelter to a new animal village, an inviting place for families to visit and spend time with our animals. Our dogs will also have separate quarantine and living areas, more room for each dog with its own personal space. A much larger area to house our animals and to provide a range of other services from education to merchandise to vet clinics. Designed to cater for the needs of each type of animal, be it kittens or puppies, a bonding park for pet owners to spend quality time with the animals. Potential pet owners can view the animals here. Veterinary clinic for treatment and neutering for all our animals. Cat pens and outdoor areas to play. Ample privacy for the ones that need special care with separate boarding facilities. Platforms for cats to do what they do best, climb or just laze around. Separate exercise areas will ensure the larger animals are able to release their energy under the watchful eye of their volunteer. With 220 individual kennels for younger animals, quarantine, and even boarding facilities, the SSPCA village will have comfortable, hygienic, and safe living spaces conducive to adoptions for our residents. We hope to welcome you here for Phase 1 in 2023. But in the meantime, we need your help to raise 5 million ringgit to realize our dream. Visit our Facebook page or our website for information on how you can donate.
Thank you once again, Datin, and for sharing this video on the upcoming SSPCA Animal Village. Next, we would like to now invite the President of Asia for Animals Coalition, Mr. Dave Neal, to deliver his speech.
Thank you very much. Your Honour, distinguished guests, Donna and members of the Sarawak SPCA, to all conference delegates and to members of the media, it's an honour and it's a privilege to be here representing the Asia for Animals Coalition. And of course, my role is really to represent all of you on this incredibly prestigious stage. And over the past few days and further on today, we've heard from and we will continue to hear from some incredible speakers which are inspiring us all to continue our work on behalf of all the animals across Asia. So on behalf of the AFA Coalition, I personally like to once again thank Donna and all members of the Sarawak SPCA, Place Borneo, and, as Donna's already mentioned, the incredible volunteers for facilitating us all to come here and to share our expertise and our love and our respect for all animals. And I hope you'll all agree with me that it's been an amazing few days, and I'm sure we've got another amazing day to look forward to ahead of us. We're all here to foster these new collaborations but of course build upon those that we've developed and fostered over many years. The Asia for Animals concept has been built on these foundations of collaboration, and it's a foundation developed and maintained by these essential and crucial conferences, and I'm sure again you'll all agree that it is so nice for us all to be back in the same room and to be able to meet again in person. The Asia for Animals Coalition is the mechanism which keeps these collaborations active. And so I'd like to just give a summary of the work of the Asia for Animals Coalition to be able to ensure that everybody has a full understanding of the work that the coalition is here to be able to do on your behalf. So the Asia for Animals Coalition is now actually the world's largest network of animal advocacy organizations, something for us to celebrate. It's the largest group of advocacy organizations which are based here in Asia. It's a support network. It's connecting all NGOs across Asia and your advocacy work, creating a united voice so that we can all come together to try to address issues of animal cruelty and animal exploitation. The mechanism of the coalition is that there are 24 core member organizations, and surrounding that are over 300 organizations as part of the network of Asia for Animals Coalition. Here are those essential core member organizations. These are the driving force of the AFA coalition. These are the organizations that help the coalition to continue to move forward and to do all the incredible work that is being done and help you facilitate, or to facilitate you to be able to continue and improve on your work. But there's a much larger network, as I say, and the network is all of you here and many of the other organizations who unfortunately couldn't join us for this conference. If anybody is here and isn't part of the network, then please do either scan this code or see the incredible Asia for Animals Coalition team outside, if you haven't already, and discuss how you can become part of the coalition. It really does open up amazing opportunities for collaboration and networking. It has a whole range of new platforms for communication and collaboration, and a range of new working groups which you can get involved within specific issues. Oops. Just as a very basic summary, here are the current 7 working groups of the coalition, and hopefully there is something in here already which you can get involved in. If there isn't, then come to the coalition and I'm sure something will be developed. But if you're working in areas of policy, then there's a policy stream. If you're working with dog and cats, then there is a dog and cat coalition. If you're working on issues with macaques, there's Macaque Coalition. We have the Farm Animal Coalition, Sanctuaries and Rescue Centres Coalition, Capacity in Animal Protection Coalition, which is there specifically to try to help you and your organizations to build your strengths. And as many of you heard from yesterday, we have the Social Media Animal Cruelty Coalition, which unfortunately has to exist in this world where we've got increasing amounts of online animal cruelty. But the coalition is only here because of the conferences. The conferences are the backbone of what Asia for Animals is really about. And here is the list of conferences, or the countries in which the conferences have taken place. The Asia for Animals concept was started back in 2001 with the very first conference in the Philippines in Manila, organized by the Philippines Animal Welfare Society. And as you can see, it's moved to various countries in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in India, Indonesia, into China. Here, back in 2015, the first conference in Malaysia, then into Nepal, our virtual conference during the pandemic, and then again, we're all back here, 2023. Thanks very much to Donna and Sarawak SPCA. The coalition is what keeps the networks happening in between the conferences. The coalition was developed as an idea by myself many years ago to try to ensure that when we come to these conferences, everybody starts building these collaborations, building these networks, building these connections, and then like everything else, we all go back into our burrows and get deep down into the work that we're doing, and maybe not always coming back to where we were and the commitments that we wanted to make at the conferences. So the coalition was set up to try to help to facilitate that process, to facilitate everybody to get together, to continue those discussions in between the conferences. And that really came about because I'm sure you can all feel this or know this. you know, you go to the conference, you speak to somebody, you have an incredible conversation, you really want to collaborate, and then you realize you're speaking to them again 2 years later, and you're talking about the same thing and saying, we really should have done something after we spoke 2 years ago, but we just didn't have the time. The coalition is there to try to help that and facilitate that to happen so that we are continuing these conversations in between the conferences. The coalition now has developed quite considerably since the initial idea and the concept. It's now organizing various events through the working groups, specific events related to the working group streams, some of them online and some of them in person. So it is the biggest network of animal protection organizations in Asia. It can help, and actually it was originally set up really as an appeal letters writing organization to try to support you as to provide additional support from all of these incredible organizations that are part of the conference. If you had an appeal letter that maybe you wanted to write to try to get additional support for your campaign work or your advocacy. It can support network members. It can be a filter point to point you in the right direction and connect you with other organizations working on similar issues. And it can help to share your work across a wider platform. And also now, very importantly, it's the Asia Regional Coalition for the World Federation for Animals. So the World Federation for Animals, advocating on behalf of animals globally, advocating on behalf of animals with bodies such as the United Nations. The Asia for Animals Coalition can then take those issues, bring them down to the Asia region, and then try to get additional support for them within the Asia region before they go back up to the global level. These are our incredible coordinators. I'm sure you've met many of them. They're all sitting here, smiley faces in front of us. They're all doing an amazing job. Some of them part of the core coalition, some of them with specific roles with regards to all of those working groups. If you haven't met them yet, then please make sure you do. After here, they'll be outside. There's a coalition booth. But I'm sure, seeing as we're into our third day here, then hopefully you've had the opportunity to meet many of them. But if you haven't, then please do. They are an incredible bunch of people, an incredibly enthusiastic, incredibly active group of coordinators, which are really helping you to continue to do your work here within Asia. So, to finish, this is why we're all here. We are here, we're all together here to work and to collaborate with each other. The coalition is set up as that mechanism to help you collaborate outside of these conferences and to keep us all together and to be that united voice for Asia's animals. So in conclusion, again, I would just like, it's a real honor for me to be here representing the Asia for Animals Coalition, but I'm not just representing the Asia for Animals Coalition, I'm representing all of you in the room. It's a little bit daunting for me when I say a huge thank you to Donna once again and to everybody in the Sarawak SPCA, but also to all of the people here which have made this conference possible to happen and welcomed us all to your home. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate AFA and the AFA Coalition and all your efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to now invite our guest of honor, the Right Honorable Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari, to deliver his keynote address. Dato' Patinggi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera. Salam Sarawak maju dan makmur. Salam segulai sejalai. Yang berhormat Saudara Datuk Seri Profesor Dr. Sim, Timbalan Premier Sarawak. Yang berhormat Saudara Datuk Seri Dr. Stephen Rundi Naitom, Minister of Food Industry, Commodity and Regional Development. Yang berbahagia Datin Donna Juriwi, President Sarawak Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animal, SSPCA. Yang berbahagia Datuk Hee Chang Pee, Deputy State Secretary. Mr. Dave Neal, Chairman for Animals Coalition, AFA 2023. Yang berbahagia Madam Gracie Giki, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to SSPCA for inviting me this morning and giving me the honor to officiate this conference. Apparently, I was informed that this is the second conference in Malaysia, 2015 and 2023, and Sarawak always the host of this conference. It shows the interest of Sarawak in terms of animals, to protect animals. And I must commend Datin Duri for her effort, not only to create awareness, but her passion to look after our animal. Thank you, Duri. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarawak is a home of incredible biodiversity and ecological wonder. As we embrace the responsibility of protecting our natural heritage, let me share with you a few remarkable statistics that highlight our dedication to conservation. Sarawak boasts an impressive array of 47 national parks, 16 nature reserves, and 5 wildlife sanctuaries. If we were to include marine protected areas, our total area is 2.1 million hectares. Our newest upcoming protected area is within the city limits. That is the Bukit Siol Nature Reserve, 45 hectares, which is going to be the home to the oriental pied hornbills. It's not far from the city. The total expanse of totally protected areas in Sarawak is more extensive than that of any other state in Malaysia. It is not just a number, but a testament to our unwavering commitment to safeguarding our unique flora and fauna. Our dedication to preserving these pristine landscapes extend far beyond the boundaries of conservation alone. With these natural wonders serve as a magnet for tourists, providing economic benefit to our region, and we have come to understand during the recent global pandemic that these spaces are equally essential for our own well-being. The surge in visitors to our parks, especially those situated close to the cities in Kuching, was a heartening reflection of the newfound appreciation for green spaces and protected natural areas. We have learned that the quality of our lives is intrinsically linked to the health of our environment. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarawak is dedicated to the transformation of the state into a sustainable and eco-friendly urban center, recognizing the paramount importance of environmentally sustainability. We want to develop cities that are not only habitable, but also promote health and vitality while addressing the needs of current residents and safeguarding the environment for future generations. In pursuit of this objective, we are actively implementing various sustainable urban development strategies. This encompasses the construction of energy-efficient buildings, establishment of eco-friendly transportation system, then the expansion of green spaces within our cities. Additionally, we are actively advocating for the adoption of renewable energy resources and are diligently working to reduce our carbon footprint. This effort aligns with our commitment to the Paris Agreement on climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP Malaysia, in collaboration with Sarawak State Government, is currently formulating the Sarawak Biodiversity Master Plan. The Master Plan strives to incorporate biodiversity factors into Sarawak's development agenda, fostering the effective conservation and preservation of natural resources. As you can see, Sarawak is a region abundantly endowed with diverse ecosystems, stretching from highland areas to coastal regions. And the state's remarkable biodiversity is of paramount significance to the welfare and prosperity of its inhabitants. Sarawak residents have relied upon the state varied ecosystem for vital, life-sustaining services, including access to clean water, sustenance, energy resources, economic growth, and again, the preservation of cultural tradition. Consequently, the government acknowledges the critical importance of biodiversity and is committed to fulfilling its obligation to safeguard and conserve the state biodiversity, recognizing the intrinsic connection it shares with the natural world. Our Wildlife Protection Ordinance 1998 and the National Parks and Nature Reserve Ordinance 1998 are in place to facilitate the achievement of the objective of conserving iconic species like the orangutan and hornbills along with their habitats. When I took over the helm of Sarawak in 2017, I put the timber and forestry sector close to my heart as we acknowledge the need to change, to continue to develop this country, but in a sustainable manner. Since 2018, the state no longer issues new timber licenses, and all long-term forest licenses are required to develop planted forests using fast-growing timber species such as acacia for use as raw material for downstream timber processing activities. Fast-growing bamboo has also been capitalized as a new material to support and sustain the industry. We recognize the indispensable role that animals play in our society. In Sarawak, we firmly believe that balance can be achieved in all our endeavors, whether it is advocating for cruelty-free animal husbandry, promoting responsible pet ownership, or fostering an appreciation for wild animals in their natural habitats. We are committed to ensuring harmony in all aspects of our lives. The threat of diseases such as rabies is a crucial reminder of the profound importance of safeguarding the health and well-being of both humans and animals alike. In recognizing this interdependence between our species and the animal kingdom, we strive to create a world where coexistence is not just a goal, but a reality, where animals are treated with kindness and respect, and where their welfare is an integral part of our collective responsibility. The collaboration between government councils and civil society in the eradication of rabies and the management of human conflict is an essential partnership that showcases the power of collective action and shared responsibility. Government councils and departments play a central role in setting policies, allocating resources, and implementing vaccination programs to control and the spread of the virus. Concurrently, civil society organizations contribute valuable grassroots insight, engage in community outreach, and raise awareness about responsible pet ownership and the importance of vaccination. By uniting their strength, they create a comprehensive approach to tackling rabies that reaches all corners of society. This collaboration extends beyond public health issues, encompassing the management of human conflict as well. Conflicts can arise from various sources, including differences in perspectives. All the stakeholders must strive to foster open dialogue, empathy, and understanding among community members to prevent and mitigate conflicts. Effective governance involves not only top-down decision-making, but also active engagement with citizens and communities. By partnering with civil society, government council, there's the local government, gain valuable insight, build trust, and ensure that policies and initiatives are both responsive and reflective of the diverse needs and aspirations of the population. As Malaysia is a signatory to the World Organization for Animal Health, we must work on greater engagement with our communities to make significant progress in improving the treatment of stray dogs and ultimately working towards the eradication of rabies within our borders. I would like to remind our Council that even in the targeted removal of strays, the welfare of this animal should be monitored. We have our SOPs in place, and we should follow these so that they don't just become pieces of printed paper. Instead of offering rewards for the public capture of stray animals, we should be looking at implementing a robust neutering program, because we know that the uncaptured animals will still reproduce in 6 months' time, and the problem will keep recurring if we don't snip at the source of the problem. We can discuss having statewide neutering campaigns. We will need SSPCA and any of the coalition partners here to work with us to do a study on this. Let us advance the call for human stray dog and cat population management and control. But owners have a responsibility too, even under the OIE standard, to ensure that the dog does not roam out of control in a manner that would pose a problem to the community or the environment. These, I think, are some of the challenges of urbanization, ensuring human treatment and coexistence of animals, especially within the urban setting, aligned with UN SDG 11, making our cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, the state recognized the work that SSPCA has done in speaking out for animal welfare, educating the public on responsible pet ownership, and assisting the local government, the vet department, even the State Disaster Management Committee, as we work together in the fight against rabies. I remember during the groundbreaking ceremony at the end of 2019 for the new animal village, I told the husband of Dato' Donna, if the cats and dog had a vote, Datin Donna would surely get elected. I understand the construction of the animal village has been delayed due to the pandemic and the rising costs of building materials. As the state takes a great stride in our march towards development, we know the animal village will also raise the standards for animal shelters and also the public perception of animal welfare. My office definitely would like to assist SSPCA by pledging some allocation in the next budget to SSPCA for you to fulfill your vision of creating a new state-of-the-art animal village that will foster stronger community development. Ladies and gentlemen, before I sit down, I just would like to mention here that the state government not only takes care of animals on land, but also in the sea. We have built what we call the artificial coral reef. And this has been the heaven for our fisheries species along our offshore area. And we have spent 70 million ringgit to place our artificial coral reef in order to regenerate the reef along our shores. The area and the distance is about 745 kilometers, borne by the state government. And the outcome, the recent investigation we got, there has been a lot of growth in our coral reef. Becomes heaven for our fisheries and other animals out there in the sea. And we have been awarded a recognition by the international body based in US that this reef is the longest in the world. So Sarawak is committed. The longest reef, as you know, the natural one is in Australia, but the artificial one, we are the longest. And what is important here is this, a lot of fish resources there now. Even the turtles are coming back. And that is our success, showing the commitment of the Sarawak government. The challenge now is for us to work together in terms of new diseases, that is animal to human. And that's where we are giving emphasis on this animal protection and animal health, because it coexists. If one is dying, the other one will also be dying. In other words, it has to be a collective action, and I would like to commend SSPCA, the vet, and people who are involved in this for your patience, and the Sarawak government is committed to that. With that, once again, thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind message and, of course, your generosity. If you could remain on stage, as we now invite our VIPs to join you on stage to officiate the conference. Dato Patinggi and our VIPs, if you could approach the gong. Now, of course, at my count, Dato Patinggi, if you could kindly proceed to sound the gong 3 times. So, 1, 2, 3. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the official commencement of Asia for Animals Sarawak Conference 2023. And now we would like to invite Datin Donna to present a memento to Dato Patinggi, our Premier of Sarawak, as a sign of appreciation for his unwavering support a beautifully framed tree of life. Now if we could all just have a beautiful group photo. We have the photographers, yep. If we could all look to the front for the photo session, yep. Just a quick one. All right, so thank you so much. Thank you, Dato Patinggi, and thank you to all our VIPs for being with us this morning and officiating the conference.